Hey everyone, welcome to Inspiring Leadership Stories, where we look at self-leadership and leadership through various lenses by sharing experiences from coaches, mentors and experts across the globe, and all of them are change makers. Now, I'm really very grateful and excited today because I welcome Mona AlHebsi. She lives in the United Arab Emirates. Welcome, Moni. I'm so grateful to have you. Could you please introduce yourself shortly?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Fabian, for giving me this opportunity and to have this conversation with you. So my name is Mona AlHebsi. I am an author, a success coach, and a writer as well. Just a little bit about myself. I've started my career within the hospitality industry in the UAE. So I've spent like around 15 years of my career working in luxury hospitality in the field of human resources and human capital. But also then going forward in my career, I've ventured into coaching, and I can tell you a little bit more about it later in the session, but kind of I love coaching. Coaching transforms people. And then after that, like I've thought of sharing my experiences with people by writing a book. So my first book was by the name of Beat the Odds, and it's a career guidebook for working professionals and specifically for hoteliers, and where I've shared what I have done across the years so that I've achieved what I've achieved in terms of excellence, in terms of effectiveness, personally and professionally. After that, I've also got into different writing engagements. So the latest one was a book by the name Fired Up, and it was a group effort with 10 women across the globe who wrote about their experiences and how they actually have gone the extra mile in order to beat their difficulties and turn them into success stories. So that was one collaboration that I've recently worked in. Currently what I'm doing is I'm actually coaching individuals and organizations and writing content that has to do about business effectiveness and career progression. So mostly you can call me a career coach or success coach, and I work with different kinds of people.
That is really absolutely amazing. And I know that you received a few awards recently. Congratulations. And of course, also congratulations on the publication of your second book. And Mona, you just said something very, very interesting. You said that you have written about what those women did to go the extra mile and to be successful. Could you please share a little bit more about this?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the Fired Up book is about 10 stories of 10 exceptional women who actually, women like me and you and like everyone, we all have our own stories. We go through ups and downs in life. We go through high moments and low moments. But what makes one person more effective is that how we look at those circumstances, how we actually don't sit and blame and beat ourselves or blame others, and utilize those circumstances and to make as an opportunities. So in that book, my contribution was to write about my career story, and it was named the career tale of a courageous girl, and it was basically my story coming from a reserved culture, and how I, had the courage to beat all the norms and stand up for myself and say, well, this is what I would like to do in life, and later on what I have done and the journey, whether it's internal journey or external journey that I have taken across the years in order to achieve what I've set my mind up to. Yeah. So I think it's all required, extra mile.
Yes,
more efforts.
Yeah, wonderful. And by the way, Moni, so yes, you have at a very young age, you have an extremely rich experience already. So what did your previous jobs, bosses, or maybe even life teach you about self-leadership and leadership?
Yeah, sure. So actually, one of my very first learnings in life, coming from a family where I am the eldest sister of a 7 sibling, taught me what self-leadership means and how it is important to take accountability and to be responsible in order to create the life or the result or achieve the results we would like to do in life. Because see, I mean, if you look at all the issues that people might face, it will come into most of the people will be actually beating themselves or blaming others, and that's why they create the mental block by doing this. It's not at any point or at any way external blocks, it's mental blocks, and it starts from within us. So my childhood taught me that I need to be the one going and taking ownership, creating that life by doing the right actions in the right direction. And this translated into later on into my education, school life, where I have always achieved the best results. I was one of the best students in all my study life, and then it translated also into my career life. So most of people, they go, they work, and they work maybe because, and we all have done that at some point in our career. We start working because everyone's working. We start working because we need, to earn a living. But then after some time, it stops being working for a living. We should start looking at our work as a mean to, to create a life, create a rich life,
Yes.
And that doesn't happen if we will follow the mainstream. And that was my main, I would say, signature, or how I basically identify myself. Like we should always go and the opposite side, or let's say we should be the oats and not follow everyone, because then only you can come up with something that would most probably change the status quo. And because you are now questioning why we are doing what we are doing.
Yes.
And when we stop, when we don't do this and we just work and work and work, or do, I mean, for that matter, anything else in life, it just becomes very monotonous. It becomes without the fire, and we need the fire actually in order to go through life. So I think leadership is all about, being courageous, to question, to say why, being passionate about what you are doing, and also being of service and leaving an impact.
Yes, that's very interesting and very intriguing, and so true what you are saying, because I really see the same. I see it every day, and one of the many things I help my clients with, female managers, is to find their why, their purpose. Why are they in a leadership role? Who do they want to be? What identity, do they want to have? And what is the difference they want to make? So it's really very important what you just said, and it's so true, and I see it all the time. So thank you very much for sharing this. It's very valuable. And by the way, so I mean, your journey must have been quite complex, I believe. Not easy, definitely not easy, with a lot of barriers, I suppose, hurdles to take,
Yeah.
Now, what was maybe, I don't know, the best or the worst leadership example or experience you ever had in your career until now?
Well, so I think most of us would think straight away of a best example of a best leader, and the opposite side as well. So if I may share like one good example and one not so good, so that I can give, the audience the way to compare basically what other traits to take or what to avoid. been being a leader. So I could straight away think of a leader who I could consider the best leader I have ever had in my working life. And I will talk about the traits, not the person, because this is what we are after, actually, the discussion. So one of the things that really, made me look forward to go to work every day is having that leader, seeing him, he's seeing me as a person, he's interested in me and interested in what I have to offer to the organization, what I bring to the table. He was by no means showing me that I'm a woman, or I come from a certain background, or no, nothing. He looks at me as a person. He cares about me, and we used to have very, very rewarding conversations. Usually when I used to have the one-to-one with him, it used to be scheduled for 1 hour, but then it used with time, as we knew each other, as we became so good partners in what we do. It used to go to 2 hours conversation, and we used to say, oh, we need to manage the time. So this person used to value what I bring. He used to treat me as a consultant to the business. He used also to see in me what I couldn't see in myself. Wow. So I think these are very nice traits to have in a leader, because someone like me is already very much self-aware, knowing about my strength and what I'm not so good at. But then this person, he kind of saw even the things that I thought, oh, I might not be doing this, but he said, no, you do this, you go do this, Yes. And that used to really make my day, and I used to love them to work. On the other hand, I also would like to share an experience with one of the people I worked with, and he was my boss at that point in my career. I think you will know it from the work environment, because I think the strategy that this particular person took was to divide and rule. So it will come all with all sorts of micromanagement, being the nice person to everyone, but actually making sure that the other team members are fighting with each other, having gossiping, doing stuff, trying to know, and it's that kind of saying my way or highway. So not really valuing the individual contributions of the team members, but really loving to be the one always in the spotlight, the one who gets represented everywhere. And if for example, because people are genius and they are talented, so we used to have different kind of talents coming in the team, but somehow because of the behavior of this person, the team kind of started losing confidence, in the team and also in oneself, like individual team members. So he was a kind of person who was suppressing, all kind of creativity. People were not even courageous to speak or to share feedback with him, because he will then start taking it personally, and the whatever will come after that. Yes. So I mean, these are two examples.
Wow, that's amazing, because these two examples really are two extremes. And
exactly, I was privileged actually that I experienced both, because actually, honestly, both of them added to my learning experience and taught me what kind of a leader I need to be aiming to become, basically, whenever I lead people.
Yes, very, very interesting. Mona, I'm really a great advocate for servant leadership, and that's what I help my clients with, because I truly believe that this is the way to go, and this is what the world and the corporate world badly needs. So I'm very glad for you that you had this example and this role model, and also that that person could see your talents and help you to further develop and further grow, and that's what a servant leader should be doing. So it's really very rewarding, isn't it, to be able to have a leader and a mentor like that person.
Sure. Actually, if I may add also, I mean, you just mentioned the sad reality, I would say. I mean, maybe we see a lot of things changing, obviously, all the time, and in the corporate world and how businesses are operating. But I wanted to say that the sad reality of how corporate world operate is you will see those kind of people who might, and it's not a generalization. I mean, it's not true all the time, but this is what I've at least seen in my experience, is that when you have a good leader who's people oriented, who is mostly supportive to people and trying to do things in a quite different way, but because those different ways will add the value, will break the norms, will inspire people, and the corporate world is mostly about the bottom line, the financial results. I think it should start from the top, from the executive level, because then those kind of leaders, people will love them. The people in the front line, the operational people will love them because they are making their job easier, but not necessarily the people in the top, because they mostly want people who are and I don't say that it should be either or. Of course, a good leader should have both the character and the competence, but then the thing is, a lot of people related matters, and being an HR expert, this is how I see things. A lot of people related matters, interventions, even the effort that you put energy in relationships, that doesn't show up in a month or in a year, in a financial year. A lot of these kind of efforts require time to materialize. But then most of the businesses, they plan short term and they want immediate results. And it's very difficult to actually show a lot of these things in a very short span of time. So that's what makes most of these leaders not really appreciated in terms of, competence.
Yes, exactly. Now, what we definitely need is this long-term vision, because, well, I hope that those leaders who have this short-term vision, that they realize that they are impacting their own bottom line in a very negative way.
Yeah.
Because when people are inspired and motivated, it increases productivity, as you know. And, well, an increased productivity means that your company becomes more profitable. So, and that's why I really, between us, and the whole world is listening now.
Yeah.
I hope, between us, I really love to work with female leaders, because they have, well, I don't want to generalize, of course. And by the way, I also love to work with men. I worked much more with men than with women, but female leaders have this natural feeling of truly connecting with team members, and by the way, that's also what I help them with. But they understand that more of the long-term vision and the impact, and also the influence, the impact of their decisions on the company, on the people, even on society. So the long-term vision definitely is very important, also for the bottom line.
Yeah, of course. I think, totally agree. And I would say this was one of the struggles, actually, that I've been facing during my rich career in human capital, and working with people, working with different levels of the organization, of management, of frontline people of different nationalities. The thing is, as you said, we really hope that the people sitting on the top, they need to realize, because see, most of the companies, they are utilizing what is called the balanced scorecard, and this is the most effective way to gauge or to measure whether an organization is being effective in the key areas that need to be measured. So the bottom line, or the financial results, is only one aspect of organizational excellence. But actually, if you look at people component, if you look at the customer component, if you look at even operational excellence, where are they, in the whole, measurement or evaluation of how effective the organization is. So before some time, there was a very big focus on the financial, and I think this is came from the short-term, goals that organizations used to set, and from the pressure and everything. But hey, come on, at any point of time, we will always have those pressures. We will always have those circumstances that we are not planning for and just coming in, and all the market issues, all the unexpected things. But this is exactly what calls up a good leader or an effective leader, because this is the time that you mostly will need to show your leadership skills. Because leadership skills is not something that you show in the good times. It's actually most required in the difficult times. And your ability as a leader to drive the business safely with your people, because obviously you need all the possible help and contribution, and to drive the business. So you need to plan that, to lead in that way. But I think that needs to change, and maybe it's changing, because indirectly people are affecting, no matter, like people used to say before, customer comes first, but now I'm happy to see a lot of organizations talking about employee, and employee come first, and employee is a mirror of how your customer, it's not that customer come first. So I think the sequence is very important, because they start from the financial and they want to go down, but it's not this way, the other way around actually.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I totally agree with you. I would say happy co-worker, happy customer. That's just how it is.
Sure.
Yeah. By the way, I'm curious. You gave this example of the bad manager, let's say. Now, which initiatives and/or actions did you take to change the situation?
Well, I've done in my capacity at that point, because obviously I was reporting to this person. But as I told you, like, I've learned from the very good leader, but I also learned from this kind of people. This taught me to be more, vocal, to be more, to take more initiatives, to actually be highly achiever. Because when you have this kind of people or managers, because I don't even want to call this kind of people leaders, because they are not leaders, but this kind of managers, I would say, they create very toxic work environment. So the impact mostly on the people working with this kind of managers is a lot of stress, a lot of maybe sleepless nights, or it's just that you cannot focus and you cannot do things, and you all the time you lose the psychological safety in the workplace. And this is a very important aspect for productivity and for delivering results for any employee. So you miss the trust aspect, and this is, I think, what I'm trying to say. You miss the trust aspect in your boss, and also in the organization itself, because the organization allowed this kind of people to be present and didn't give them any accountability, even though I think different people will highlight or be showing in the engagement results or in different aspects of the business, but the organization is kind of not doing much to eradicate this kind of people from the organization. So I think I've got to be a high achiever, so that no one complain about me or create an issue for me. So that was on a positive side. I was driving a lot of initiatives. I actually started advocating or being vocal and showcasing my own achievements, because this kind of managers also always try to take your work and say that they have done it. So there's no credit that you get. So with time, I learned to do all this kind of things. But unfortunately, not all the employees will have the courage to deal with this kind of people. So they might end up affecting their mental health, or just silently leaving the organization and looking for the next opportunity.
Yes, exactly. And that's what is happening. And by the way, nowadays, we can see it in this great resignation, isn't it? And
of course,
there is a correlation between bad management and burnouts and long-term absenteeism and this great resignation. And that's why I was saying in the beginning of our conversation, servant leadership definitely is what the corporate world needs, and what the world in general needs, because it's the same in politics, it's the same in the educational system. We need it everywhere. But I'm very glad that that both extremes were learning possibilities for you, and of course it says a lot about yourself, about your personality, and about your mindset. And by the way, speaking of mindset, would you like to share something about mindset, about Yeah, the importance of mindset and how you experience this.
Yeah, of course. I think at any point, and I think I mentioned this earlier in our conversation, at any point in our life, we have the option of, being the victims of our circumstances or just being the heroes of our stories, So, I mean, every one of us get to choose which one he or she want to be. And obviously, being the hero is much more attractive and much more, productive to me, talking about myself. So I chose to take that route, and I chose to be the person who is responsible and accountable for everything happens in my life, whether I like the result or I don't like the result. Of course, I mean, as humans, I'm not trying to showcase myself as a superhero or superwoman or something, because we all go through the ups and downs in life. And a lot of time when we don't get the results that we were hoping to get, we get through the periods of down and of being sad or just a disappointment. But the point here, being also a coach, that you shouldn't prolong those moments. As a human, we need to live our humanity. We need to experience all the feelings, whether the good feelings or not the so good feelings, because it's part of how we become emotionally healthy. But then what I've learned, also with the experience to do is, okay, to live those moments, but not to prolong them, and to move to the next task or to the next thing, because again, like life will still go on. It will not stop by, let's say, by me not doing something or not achieving something. But I will always have those opportunities coming up in different forms with different peoples. So now the next thing is how to, capitalize on what I have already and how to make most of the upcoming opportunities. So I think how you think, how you talk to yourself, even, and whether you have the ability or you've trained yourself to listen to your gut feeling or to your intuition. I think this is a basic thing for me, and I have full chapter in my book, the Beat the Odds, talking only about trusting your intuition and how it can take you to places in life that you've never thought you will go if you don't listen to your intuition.
Wow, that's fantastic, very fascinating. And I suppose that it is also linked to courage, isn't it?
Of course.
The courage to say
yeah,
yes.
actually, Fabian, sorry, but I need to say this. I read somewhere, it was so true to me. They say, someone said, courage is the base of all the good, righteous things in life. So if you have courage, any other righteous thing, let's say, give me like anything, like any other good deed, it will come after courage. So if you want to be generous, for example, like even if you want to be generous, if you want to be truthful, if you want to be any good thing, that have some base of courage first. If you don't have that courage, the other deeds might not, be there actually.
Yes, true. And I also believe, Mona, that courage is one of the 21st century leadership skills. Having the courage to have, for instance, courageous conversations.
Yes.
That's a skill, isn't it? I mean, you can learn it. We can all learn it. If we don't possess it naturally, we can definitely develop it.
Sure.
And by the way, how do you like to, to learn and to further grow and develop yourself?
So, well, I think learning has become at everyone's disposal in the age we are living. It might have been quite, not easy before, but now it's at everyone, reach. Personally, for me, I always like to be up to date with the developments of my area of work or field. So I'm part of different associations, related to my area of work. Like CIPD and HR, the CTI or like CTI, SEF for the coaching, International Coaching Federation, and also the PMI for the project management. So that's one way. I read case studies, I do stuff, I listen to their, latest releases and webinars. But also, I believe, and from experience, the role of coaching and mentoring, and how to shape up your personality, how to take you into very amazing places in life. Because I would say, looking at my career, I started picking up as an individual and having an impact when I enrolled myself into the CTI or the coaches program, and got into the certification route for the coaching. And that was like, wow, I would say the light bulb for me, you know, and into doing so many things. So if you look at my career journey, you would see that I started picking up and showing results and being more effective actually after undertaking the coaching program. So that was one thing, but also at the same time, being mentored by some of the best people in the industry, and making sure that I mentor the youth as well, because this is part of service leadership, you know.
Yes.
So I think it's all about taking, but also giving back at the same time. So keeping that balance.
Yes, definitely. It's so true what you just said. I mean, we definitely are our biggest asset.
Yes.
And our best investment. So I mean, and I believe that people who understand this, that, you know, the importance of investing in themselves, and the fact that they are their best investment and biggest asset, that it's huge. It's huge. So you clearly understood this and you also applied it. So that's really, really fantastic. Now, Mona, what would be your best advice to female managers, female entrepreneurs, or, you know, managers, leaders, entrepreneurs in general? What would be your golden nuggets?
Yeah, so I think wherever I go, anyone asks for advice, this is the thing I say: branding, whether it's personal branding or professional branding. Because see, I mean, we all have experienced being overworked, underappreciated, under-recognized, having other people, you know, taking our efforts, and we are living in a world which is not ideal. So these things will continue on happening. But also, I think the balance here is also to have the courage, especially for females. I mean, it's for both males and females, but females more so for females, because as a nature, we don't like to show ourselves. Like we like to be, we kind of hesitate. We say, okay, maybe it's not nice, and we have a lot of and so inside talk, self-talk, that might not support our visibility. But then I think that the new thing is like to go. I mean, if your mind tells you not to do it, it might probably it's the best thing that you need to do in order to move to your next step. Yeah. So the branding, personal and professional, talk about your efforts, share your story, your experiences. Because another thing also I think about all the time is why actually we are spending so much time on educating ourselves, on having access to education, to learning, to training. It's because we need to enhance our skills, but also at the same time we need to impart it and share it with other people, because there's no point of having all of these experience and skills and knowledge and taking it to the grave with us. Because what is the value actually? What is the value that we are adding to the world? What is the impact? How are we paying it forward? So this is the point.
Definitely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you, because by doing that, we are enhancing the world, isn't it? And yeah, it's so nice. It's so beautiful. It's wonderful when we can add value to the world. That's the best thing that exists, isn't it?
Sure. Yes. It's very fulfilling, actually. Yes. I think the feeling of giving back is very fulfilling. Every one of us should give with what they have, because we all have access to different resources, different kind of, God give us different things as gifts, as talents. So everyone will give in the way he or she that have that talent, that resource. So we all, at the end of the day, every one of us has something to give. So we need to make sure that we do that.
Yes, absolutely. And everyone can do this at their own level.
Sure.
A lot is being written about gender diversity, gender equity, etc., diversity and inclusion, but we should also talk about talent diversity and talent inclusion. It's very important, and especially now where, you know, we have this shortage of talents. So it's very, very interesting.
Sure, I agree.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I really feel, Mona, that we could go on for hours, but maybe...
Especially that I'm someone who talks a lot, so I mean, I wouldn't mind actually having a 2-hour conversation with you.
I wouldn't mind either. And maybe we can continue it, you know, very soon in the near future. But maybe, you know, to keep it short and sweet for our audience, maybe we can wrap up now. And so I have a last question. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so people can reach me out on my website, www.monaalhebsi.com. And also I'm available on all social media platforms. So on Instagram as Miss Rock, and then all other Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. I'm very active on LinkedIn. And also I have a YouTube channel where I post regular, you know, career tips, life, you know, share my life stories, different things. So it's a very lively channel. So I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel as well and benefit from it. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Definitely. Well, I invite everyone to start following you. And by the way, you know, I will mention all of the links below this video so people can easily find you. Thank you so much, Mona, for this amazing conversation. I really loved it.
Yeah.
Thanks for...
Me too, actually, for giving me the opportunity to talk to your audience and to share my experiences. And I always believe in collaboration, especially with women. Like, we need to do more of this. We need to, you know, help each other to achieve our goals. It's kind of win-win for everyone. I'm very glad to work with you, Fabian, and, you know, well done on everything you are doing as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And by the way, in this way, you know, we can join East and West.
Yeah.
East
True.
West.
Yeah.
Because you're situated in the United Arab Emirates. I'm in the heart of Europe, and it's so nice to be able, you know, to connect with people across the globe. I really love it.
Sure, me too. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mona. We will definitely stay in touch. And so thanks again for your time.
Thank you so much, and all the best, Fabian. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.